Hey everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. On this episode, I'm excited to welcome back to the show legendary singer Dee Snider. We'll talk all about his new solo album, Leave a Scar, and much more. I think you guys are going to really enjoy this episode, so let's jump in and let's get started. I want to ask, how is you and your family doing? I know you guys had tested positive for COVID.
It was we're all vaccinated, so it was. I mean, 3 days, minor symptoms, handled with Advil and Sudafed, and I didn't miss one interview, one meeting, one anything, and then it was gone. So then we're past our. We did the quarantine, and now we're back out in public. Not only vaccinated, but also got the antibodies now as well. So I'm feeling like Superman.
There you go. Well, that's great. Well, let me also just say congratulations. Obviously, your new solo album came out last week, Leave a Scar. I have to say, many classic rock artists are not putting out new product. This is your second one in 3 years. So what's the drive behind this for you?
Well, one thing is that, I fall into that category of classic rock artists who didn't put out new product when I was with Twisted Sister, because I just felt I called it Back to the Future. And I had seen that also that people were unwilling to accept new from classic artists, yet when you did the same thing, they gave you shit for that.
Right.
They said, they're just doing the same old thing. And well, yeah, but if I do something new, you're saying, there should be Twisted Sister. So I never endorsed doing a new Twisted Sister record. But after leaving Twisted, I started putting my foot in the water. Dee does Broadway, and then We Are the Ones. But with For the Love of Metal, I felt with Jamie Josta showed me my place in the community, showed me I could create new music that would be exciting to people and mattered. And I finally said, okay, now I know where I belong. And so doing For the Love of Leave a Scar, I was really, like I said, I knew my spot, the sweet spot for Dee Snider.
Right. Now, and on this album also, you did more of the songwriting. I know the last album, you left the songwriting to others, which was unusual for your career, right? But this time you got more involved, right?
Well, yeah, and not as, it was unusual, but I stopped writing in 95 with Widowmaker. When I came, and so, when, so I had some solo records. You've got Never Let the Bastards Weigh You Down, which was a bunch of already written songs that I wrote, outtakes from Widowmaker, Desperado, and Twisted Sister. Then I went to Dee Does Broadway, cover tunes. Then I did We Are the Ones, which is a mainstream rock record, and other people wrote those songs for me because I don't know how to write mainstream rock. And then when it came to For Love of Metal, Jamie said, you need to do a contemporary metal record. And I said, I love contemporary metal, but I just don't know where I fit. He said, well, I do. So I said, well, show me. So I stepped back and I call it doing a trust fall, and put myself in his and all these other great people who came to the table. People from Disturbed and Lamb of God and Killswitch Engage. All these people came out of the woodwork because Jamie said everybody's going to want to work on Dee's record, and he was right. I was touched, honestly, by the love that I got from the community. And then, and Jamie started bringing me songs. And look, I said to people, look, Sinatra didn't write My Way.
Right.
And Presley didn't write Hound Dog. But when they got those songs, it spoke to them. They owned it. And no one's going to say My Way is not Frank Sinatra's song. Okay. So, and the same when Jamie started bringing me stuff, he told me he read every word I ever wrote, every word. And he said before he wrote a word for Dee Snider. So I felt like I said, I can get behind these songs. I can own these songs. They feel like they are Dee Snider songs, and which was great that they worked that hard to make them mine. But on this record, I called Jamie. I said, now I see where I fit. Now I get where I belong. Now I'm ready to join the writing process. Mm-hmm. So me, Jamie, and Charlie Belmore wrote all these songs on the record. And people say they could tell the difference. That's great. I mean, I hope that, that my contribution is noticeable.
Yeah, to me, I hear your voice in some of the lyrics, right? And even just when the album was coming out, I was shocked to read and to hear that you were saying your previous solo album secretly was going to be your last album, right? And then you decided, with everything going on in the world the last couple of years, the pandemic, the whole political thing, that you were going to do another album. So to me, I Gotta Rock Again. Is that you saying, hey, I'm right back at it?
That was really the start of it. That was the start of it all. So yeah, I had quietly, I told everybody I was involved with that I thought I was done with For the Love of Metal. But then all of a sudden, mid-COVID 2020, and it popped in my head, I Gotta Rock Again. And I laughed. I said, boy, that's a Dee Snider song title if I ever heard one.
Absolutely.
And I always work from song titles when I write song. The song title will inspire the song. And so I wrote it down, and I looked at it, and I said, you know what? I think the world is feeling this right now. This is not just Dee Snider. And I guess that's me in general, that when I get these feelings, I feel like I hope I'm speaking for others. Like, we're not going to take it. It was, we're not going to take it.
Right.
It wasn't, I'm not going to take it. Yeah. So it turns out that, yeah, Dee, he is that voice that speaks for those who don't have one. So, so with this song title in hand, I've started to get that inspiration to start writing, and then it progressed from there. Ideas coming from what was going on in the world, song titles inspiring. Like take the song Open Season on the new album. So Jamie came in one day and says, dude, I'm following you on Twitter. He says, I literally feel sorry for people when they come after you. He says, you just destroy them. It's like, oh my God, that it's like they come at you and go, you suck. And then you like take a bazooka and blow them up. He goes, it's like, and he said, it's like it's open season. And I said, Open Season, that's a good song title. And so there was another song, Open Season, which is all about that. Don't come after me. You're coming after Mr. We're not going to take it. Go pick on some other celebrity. Do not want to come after me.
And that's exactly what I mean by hearing your voice in these songs, because again, that song Open Season, when I heard that and I follow you on Twitter, I'm like, oh, that's got to be based off of that. And you're confirming that right now. So I'm not surprised to hear that.
Yeah, well, when you hear a line like your opening line, "Hey, mother effer, are you kidding me?" that's Dee Snider.
Absolutely. So, but now in the song "I Gotta Rock Again," you do say, "I'm gonna rock until the day I die." Does that mean retirement is over for you? You're not thinking about that anymore?
Well, it's a matter of, I realize it's also, it's again, I'm speaking for everybody. It's not just about being on stage. It's not just about being in the studio. It's a way of thinking. Mm-hmm. And when I grew up, I don't know about you, but I assumed that at some point you would grow out of this. Like when you were really old, like 40. I figured when you were like really old, like you wouldn't that wouldn't be doing this or thinking like this anymore. And now I'm the most metal of ages, 66, and I couldn't be still more of a headbanger in my brain. And I said, oh my God, I'm going to be in some old folks home one day, and I'll be sitting there like this. And they're going to come and give me a sedative because they think I'm like having a seizure, and I'm just singing Run to the Hills on a loop in my head. And we're all going to be doing it. It doesn't get better, folks. It doesn't go away. And you know what? Love it, embrace it, be glad, because it is the fountain of youth. The more get harder and get heavier, it keeps you young.
Agreed. And you've done that. You've actually gotten heavier as you've gotten older, which is a little bit unique as well. So, another thing, you just put out a video for the song Down But Never Out, right? So I thought the video was really cool. To me, again, it speaks to you. And when I hear the song, I think of you, 1990-ish. You were down, but not out. There's been a few times in your career I could relate it to what's going on with COVID in the last year. What were you thinking writing that song?
Well, it was definitely, I mean, you keep it general enough, all songwriting I do, so that people can put their situation. But that was real COVID inspired. I mean, we just got the crap kicked out of us, and the world did. And people noticed, and I'm glad I wasn't. It's not really conscious of my part that while I can be very rebellious and very in your face and very, angry. I always have hope. I always have hope. I'll get into that a little more in a second as we'll talk about the album cover. But so the song, is about getting the crap kicked out of us during COVID. But I could have just called it Down and written about how much it sucked. But I always, it's Dee Snider say, but never out.
Right.
We can come back from this. We can stand up. We can fight back. We will not be beaten. That's my thing. And Marcelo, the guy who did the artwork for the album cover, when it was, pure inspiration. It's the first really metal album cover I've had. I usually have a picture of me or a logo, but here it was like an image. It was a painting. We told him the album title. We played him a few songs, and we told him the sort of spirit. And the next day, he did a painting, and he said, "This is what I felt." And I just love that he was inspired. It was very dark. The scarred heart and chains and gothic blood pouring out of the heart. And there was a door in the heart. And I said, one day I said, Marcelo, I love it. Do me a favor. I need you to put light in that doorway, because I am living proof that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It is not an oncoming train. and I want us to say, life is a bitch, and we get beat up and we get scarred and we get damaged, but there is hope. And he even added some doves like flying out of the door. I said, great. I just want to say there is hope.
Right. And that's one of the things with the video, Down But Never Out, I love is like, you've got the guy walking around, he's got the lotto tickets, he's scratching it. It ends with your video to be continued. So I'm assuming that there's going to be a follow-up to this, right?
Jamie's got a plan. This is Jamie. Jamie is the video master. Him and Paul. I call him Paul Haggis because he's Scottish. It's McGuire. It's not Haggis. Haggis is a Scottish dish. It's my joke. It's an awful Scottish dish. Haggis. And he. So so they got plans for the follow up, because the way it ends, he seems pretty down. I don't know where the Never Out. He seems like he may not come back. So I got to assume that we got to. He said oh, don't worry, he's gonna come back, and we're gonna bring him back.
Right. Now, to me, another important song on the album is the last one. So you've got this heavy album, and then the last song, I've heard people call it a ballad. To me, it's not a ballad. Maybe it's not as heavy as the rest of the album, a little bit more mid-tempo. Stand. Right. It sounds like, it's a powerful message there. Stand up for yourself, stand for something, leave a scar. How important was that song to you?
It's the most important song on the record. And it's the title of the album, Leave a Scar, comes from the chorus. Don't leave your mark, leave a scar. And Jamie, I said, you said the people call it it's power ballad. And someone said, well, and a reviewer said, a power ballad, but more Metallica than Bon Jovi. and the subject matter is not a love song. Right. And so I said, we got to come up with another term. A power anthem? Is it what anthem ballad? Well, we got to. So we're trying to.
Just a good song.
Yeah, but when I step back from the record and I look at it, and again, when you're in the thick of things, you're in the forest, you don't see the trees. And when you finish and you step back and you look at it, I go, and you step way back, I go, holy crap. Pretty much for 11 songs, I'm just beating people about the face and head. I mean, it's just unrelenting, just getting boom, 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 and you rope it open, and oh my God, he's so mad, he's so angry, he's got so much to say. And then all of a sudden on the 12th track, I start going, now that I have your attention. It's just completely the last song of the record, and I almost start talking, faced with the world around you. and it was like, what? What is that? What's that? So I've got your attention. Now I want you to listen to me, because this is the most important thing. And the fact is that we are allowing the extremists on the left and the right to be the loudest voices in the room. And you know what? I respect that they're passionate. I do. I respect that at least they're fighting for something they believe. Both extremes. They're fighting for something they believe in. But they are not the majority. They think because they got 10,000 people in a Facebook group that they're a movement. You're a freaking parade. That's a parade. It's not a movement. There's 7 billion people in the world. Do the math. 10,000 of you, 7 billion people in the world. You're not the majority. So, so, but the ones in the majority are in the middle, and we lean a little left. We lean a little right. I'm a concealed carrier, but I'm a woman's right advocate. You know, wait, how can you be pro-gun and pro-abortion? Yeah, yes.
Because you're yourself, you think for yourself.
Yeah, you don't have to be over there or all the way over there, man. So most of us are kind of here trying to figure it out. Yep. But for too long, we use phrases like this. I trust things will work out. It usually comes back to center. I'm hoping for the best. Well, as Dr. Phil's has often says, how's that working for you? It's not. The world is a mess because the majority have sort of sat there and gone, oh, well, I'm sure it'll work out. And these lunatics on the extremes are screaming like and pushing everybody around. I'm saying, speak up. It's time for the majority to have their voice. And, you know, and as the line of the song goes, it goes, no more trusting. Right. You know, stand for something. Never fall. No more trusting. Put your name on the wall. Mm-hmm. Stand for something. Show who you are. Stand up. Don't leave your mark. Leave a scar. Mm-hmm. And that is, and people go, well, that's pretty. You're just trying to hurt people. No, it's metaphor. Remember metaphor. Remember metaphor, and it comes from a personal experience. When I was a kid, I painted my name on the side of a building. I know, vandalism, wrong. I was a bad kid. Okay, but I went back a week later to see my work. It was painted over. My mark was covered up. Oh. There's a tree on the elementary school where I went. 55 years ago, I carved my name on that tree. I went about 6 months ago, and it's still there. Oh, that tree is still there. My name is still there. They will not only have to cut that tree down, they will have to put it through a wood chipper to get rid of that. That's the difference between your mark and a scar, where something you do is remembered and it matters and it affects things and it changes things. So that's the significance of that line.
Yeah. And look, I give you a lot of credit because so many musicians in the past were afraid to speak their mind because they don't want to alienate one side of the fan base. Man,
I'm sorry to step on you, but you're being too nice. That was part of the inspiration. There's a line in the song that says it's time to take the stage. Mm-hmm. That was one of my prime motivations. I get, staying out of it. Mm-hmm. And there's, and usually that's the rule of thumb with entertainers. Stay out of it. Everybody needs to be entertained. But when it gets as crazy as it's getting, and it gets as extreme as it's getting, the time for sitting on the sidelines and staying out of it it's over. And so as I watch some of my peers, like Tracy Guns and Mark Morton from Lamb of God and Richard Marx, who I didn't know was so metal, but apparently he is, because this guy just speaks his mind, and Axl Rose, and Sebastian Bach, they're stepping up and saying, wait a second, all right? It's the time for sitting on the sidelines is over. I want you to hear what I have to say. But there's still plenty, and I will not name them because some of them are my heroes. Mm-hmm. And I go, no, that was, sometimes but not now. Now the people need to know what you think. Step up and speak out.
I agree. So it was about a little over a month and a half ago, you actually were able to perform out here on Long Island where I am. How did it feel to be up on stage again after the whole COVID pandemic for the last year plus?
Insane. Insane, because it was, I thought I was retiring. So I kind of went into retirement mode where, where I wasn't being so strict anymore with the diet and working out. And then COVID hit, and then the gyms were closed, and I'm retiring anyway. So, and then all of a sudden I started writing a new album. I go, I got to go back on stage again. And then by the time I did that show, I hadn't played in almost 2 years. Right. So, and I was doing new music for an audience a lot of new music that they hadn't heard before. I jokingly said, don't worry about it. I'm just going to use all the all the crowd moments when I'm doing "We're Not Going to Take It" for the new songs when I get it. So it'll seem like you were enthusiastic, except your mouth wasn't going with the song. You're mouthing "We're Not Going to Take It," and I'm singing "Down but Never Out." But anyway, but it was, and on so many levels, I hadn't been back. My family still lives on Long Island. I hadn't seen my dad in a year and a half, my siblings, my grandkids. So it was this homecoming of sorts. And the gig itself was weird because I didn't want to do a gig because I didn't want to play for a socially distant audience. Sure. And I like playing big shows, real rock shows. And Napalm Records like, look, we need something for the launch. So it was decided to do a club show. 200 people was all they were letting in. Mm-hmm. And they were going to be either vaccinated or tested. And then, so that was booked. Then as we got closer, the vaccine came out and people started getting vaccinated. And there was 300 people. Then it was 400 people. And then the rate of COVID went way down in New York. And there was 500. By the night of the show, they just opened the doors. Lines were around the block, and people just said, "Come on in." Yeah. And it was just an old school, shoulder to shoulder rock show. And thank God it was, the whole whatever this new variant we've got hadn't hit yet, mm-hmm. So we didn't have there was no, whatever they call those things when people get together and then they all get COVID.
Super spreader.
Yeah, there was no super spreader event. It was just a great, fun rock show. And I couldn't ask for more.
Is there any plans? Obviously, right now, like you just said, we have the Delta variant creeping up. Is there any more plans to do other shows or not at the moment?
The answer is no. I've got a show in August in Illinois, a one-off, which I'm wondering if it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And that's it for this year. And that's the reason, because it's still very, as we say, fugazi. The Italians say fugazi, but it's not. We don't know what's going on. I mean, as people know, we were vaccinated, and my wife took the family to Disney and came back and brought COVID back, and we all got COVID. Minor, very, very, no effects, no hospital, no doctors. I was 3 days. Minor symptoms, and I didn't miss one interview or anything. I just took some Advil and I was cool. Mm-hmm. So, but same time, it's so unpredictable now. I think by 2022, I know people say we said that in 2021, but I really believe we'll have a handle on it.
Agreed.
I mean, even if it's the fact we just say, well, just F it. We're not doing anything anymore. You die. I mean, one way or the other, 2022, we can't go through this again. Agreed. So I will go out and do more shows, and I'm dying to play "You Can't Stop Rock and Roll" as I did on Long Island for people with whole new meaning. When I wrote that song, I was talking about bosses and teachers and parents. I didn't think there would be something that would literally stop rock and roll, and it did. But you can't. But it'll be great to sing it with a new meaning to the song that I never ever imagined when I wrote it when I was in my 20s.
Very, very good point. So I know also you're going to have in a couple of weeks, I think, right by me here. So I look forward to being there, an album signing out here on Long Island. Do you have any others planned around the country?
I told my, management that I'd be interested in doing some. Again, this COVID spike. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, right now, I'm coming to Long Island and I'm going to be doing that Looney Tunes signing. I hope, but is it going to be? Is it going to be just a straight up signing where people get to shake your hand and take a picture? Or is it going to be like, there was a horror convention and Alice was there. This is about a month or so ago. And he had to have a plexiglass in front of him, and you slid your picture under there, and he signed it and he slid it back wearing gloves. Will it turn into that? Right. I don't know. I do not want to create a super spreader event. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm not a non-believer in COVID. So I don't want to create a situation. So I would like to do more of those. Hopefully this thing settle down, because right now they're talking about heading to another peak in September, and that will just be awful.
Absolutely. One last thing I want to say. So, the album is out on CD. It's out on all different colored vinyls. Of course, you could stream it. I say this to everybody who watches the show here: buy the product. And I love that you've been tweeting about this also. The artists don't get anywhere near enough money from the streaming. Buy the physical product.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, that's been a topic that's been going on, and it's partially that people, the buyer isn't educated and they make assumptions, and when they see a million streams, they go, million streams, yeah, million streams, $4,000,
Right.
$4,000. So for a million, and I go, well, that's not bad, $4,000. Okay, but what about the little band?
Right.
Who dreams of getting 100,000 streams, $400. What do you do with $400
Yep.
for the band?
Right.
4 or 5 guys. So you each get your $100.
Right.
So what is that? How is that changing your life?
Yeah.
Are you quitting your day job? No.
No.
And these young bands, they've got day jobs. And everybody should be able to do what they love and make a living doing it. Getting rich doing it, that's the dream in any job. As a writer, as a performer, as a person who works in a tire factory, that maybe one day will be president of the tire factory. You know what I mean? So, but we should all be able to make a living doing the job we do. And streaming is not providing anything for the artists. Okay. So, but you know what? Streaming, it is a way to get music. I'm the first person to say, hey, hear the music before you buy it, So listen to it on Spotify. But if you hear something you like, get it on Amazon, get a hard copy, or get a digital download. YouTube, iTunes, they're paying the artist. Let the people at least make a living. If you like it, if you don't like it, I always say, if you don't like the strawberries, you don't have to buy the strawberries. You're allowed to sample one. I like it. Okay. But if you like the strawberries, don't steal the basket and run out of the store. Just buy it before you get strawberries. Okay. I mean, just put it into metaphors that maybe it can connect. They're not making money. I heard it. Remember that thing, Gangnam Styles? Gangnam Style.
Yeah.
I love that thing. Gangnam Style had 1 billion views on YouTube or something.
Okay.
Billion. You got $35,000 for $1 billion.
For $1 billion.
$1 billion. That's not a teacher's salary. No offense, teachers. I hate the fact that you're underpaid. $1 billion. I mean, so how many billion views can you get?
Of course.
Before you can say, oh, I make a living off of my music. No, it sucks.
That's crazy. So like I said, for the fans out there, buy the physical product. You just heard Dee explain why better than I ever could. Buy that product. Dee, I have to tell you, I love what you've done the last few years. I love hearing the new music coming out. I loved seeing you on Cobra Kai. That was awesome as well.
Never die.
That's right. And let's hope, like you said, that 2022 will be a better year for everybody. And I will see you on Long Island in a couple of weeks.
I'll see you there, man. Great talking to you.
That's great. Look great.
Take care of yourself.
Take it easy.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Alrighty, there you have it. I'd like to thank Dee for spending some time with me talking all about his new album, Leave a Scar. As I said in our interview, make sure you go out and get a physical copy of that. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you all next time.